warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to our video report. Today, we are analyzing a significant breakthrough in elementary education titled Learning Transportation, Enhancing Student Reading Comprehension through the SQ3R model supported by Canva by Rifki, Alif, Nurfaisi, and Sri Hartati. Reading is the key of success, yet many students struggle with it.
In SDN Wonokromo, Surabaya, the institution was urgent. 66% of fourth grade students couldn't meet the minimum passing grade. They weren't just struggling to read, they were struggling to understand. This study explores a digital age solution. The transformation was clear. Where Cycle I saw moderate growth, Cycle 2 was a massive success by addressing technical issues and using gamification. The average score reaches an impressive 93 and 33%. Very single student passed the final assessment.
Okay, define the SQ3R models and Canva. To address this, the researchers implement to SQ3R model. A systematic reading strategy, SQ3R stands for survey, question, read, recite, and review. This model encourages students to actively engage with the text rather than being passive recipients of information. But to make this model relevant for the digital era, it was paired with the Canva application. Canva allows students to organize information visual through posters, infographics, and presentation. This technology integration helps overcome reading challenge while boosting student motivation and interest.
The problem 66% failure rate are the data. The journal specifies that the initial condition pre-cycle at SDN Wonokromo 1390 Surabaya was quite alarming. The first one is the number. Out of 27 students in the fourth grade class, only 9 students, 13% were able to pass the minimum completeness criteria KKM. The remaining 18 students, 60, and 60% failed. And then next, the impact. This data suggests that more than half of the class was left behind during Indonesian language lesson. They weren't just slightly below average. They were fundamentally struggling to keep up with the curriculum requirements for reading comprehension. And the next, students difficulties. What exactly were they struggling with? The journal highlighting that reading is not just pronouncing words but expressing meaning. The students face 3 specific hurdles. The first one is determining the main idea. Students could read a paragraph but could not identify the answer. The most important sentence. They often got lost in the supporting detail.
Okay, the first one, the crisis in literacy. Reading comprehension is a fundamental skill that is vital for students, especially at the elementary school level. It is the key to knowledge acquisition and academic success. However, at SDN Wonokromo 390 Surabaya, a significant gap was discovered in initial observation of fourth grade students. Revealed that many struggle to determine the main idea of a text or answer questions related to its content. In fact, out of 27 students, 18 were able to meet the minimum compliance criteria in MCC. This inability created an unit for an effective educational intervention.
We move to deep dive into the SQTR steps. The journal emphasized that SQ3R is a process-oriented strategy. In your video, explain that it transforms reading from a passive core into an active integration. The phrase is surface. Students don't just dive deep to the text, they can titles, headings, and images to create a mental map of what they are about to learn. And the next question, is this the curiosity pass? Students turn heading into question. For example, if the heading is photosynthesis, the question is how do plants eat? This gives them a purpose of reading. And the next read. Now they read specifically to find the answer to their own question. This prevents middle reading, where a small wood the brain doesn't process. And the next recall. After each section, students start to summarize what they learned in their own words. The journal notes that using Canva here helps students store this information visually. And the next review, a final look over to answer our questions were answered. This step is crucial for long-term retention. And the next Canvas role, beyond the pretty picture. The journal explained that Canva isn't just a design tool, it's a cognitive scaffolding tool. The first one is visual organization. The journal mentioned that students use Canva to create concept maps and infographics. This processes the brain into categorized information, separating the main idea from supporting details. And the next, multimedia learning. According to the journal framework, combining text with icons and colors or multimedia reduces the cognitive load. It makes complex Indonesian text, like the no more feet or likes and dislikes, topic mentioned in the study, easier to digest, and the last boosting motivation or self-efficacy. The journal highlights that students felt like creators, seeing their work look professional on a screen gave them a sense of pride that a standard notebook could not, which directly increased their focus. And the next, the energy by the combination, right? The magic happens in the overlap between the strategy SQ, TR, and the tool Canva. The first one, active construction of knowledge. The journal repository SQ3R provides the structure, while Canva provides the social and creative outlet. When students work in groups to design a Canva poster based on their SQ3R notes, they are now constructing knowledge. And the next, transformation of media. The journal title specifically uses the learning transformation. This means the technology isn't just an add-on, it changes the nature of the text. In terms of answering a worksheet, boring students are translating a text into a visual story or indenting. And the next cycle or feedback, because Canva is easy to edit, teacher is the study during cycle 2 could give immediate feedback on a student visual map, and the student could instantly correct their misunderstanding of the text.
Okay, we move into the research methodology and theory by the journal. The study analyzed classroom action research or CAR based on the chemist and McTaggart's model. This design consists of four repeating stages: planning, action, observation, and reflection. The research is grounded in the constructivism theory by Jean Piaget and Lev Vygotsky, which posits that students build their own understanding through experience and social interaction by using Canva as a visual aid. The study also fostered collaborative learning and creativity. Data was collected through observation, interviews, and documentation, answering a holistic view of the students' progress.
We move to the points research model. Camps and atirahs. The study uses classroom action research or CAR, specifically following the model developed by chemists and atirahs. This model is designed to solve real-world problems in the classroom through a fixing cycle of improvement. The first-stage cycle. Each cycle consists of four distinct processes. The first one is planning, identifying the low reading comprehension scores, where 18 out of 22 students failed, and designing a lesson plan that integrates SQTR with Canva. And the next action, implementing the SQ3R steps, surface questioning with receipt review, while using Canva to organize and present understood information. And the third, observation, systematically recording student involvement, their interaction, improve discussion, and the quality of their work created in Canva. And the fourth, reflection, analyzing the data like the 74th and 81% average in cycle 1 to identify what worked and what failed, which then from the basic for the revisit plan in the next cycle. And the next proposed of two cycles. The first cycle serves as the initial intervention. The second cycle is crucial because it allows the teacher to apply target question to the failures of the first, such as providing better Canva training and using words to boost motivation. Theoretical based constructivism, Piaget and Vygotsky. The third is not just about using a tool; it's grounded in constructivism, which argue that learning is an active process of building knowledge. The first one is Jean Piaget's active involvement. The SQTR model aligns with Piaget's view that students should not be passive-aggressive. By surveying and questioning, students prepare their minds to assimilate new information from the text. And the next, the Vygotsky or social interaction. Vygotsky's theory emphasizes that we learn based on social interaction. The cycle 2, the research introduced small group discussion. Students collaborated to identify difficult words and use Canva together, which provided the social scaffolding necessary for deeper understanding. And the next measures multimedia learning, although not the primary base. The journal also seeks Richard Meyer to justify the use of Canva. The theory states that people learn better from words and pictures than from words alone, which is why the visual infographics in Canva were so effective for the fourth grades. And the next, data collection, assessment, observation, and interviews. The study is a triangulation approach to data, meaning they gather information from multiple sources to ensure accuracy. And the next, quantitative assessment. The first one is pre-test, conducted before an intervention to establish the baseline of student difficulty. And the next, post-test, administrated after each cycle to measure growth. The results show a significant jump from an average of 71 and 11%, cycle 1 to 90-30 and 30-30% cycle 2. And the next, qualitative observation or the behavior. The person is observation sheet. It's mainly used to document student activities such as their activities in discussion and their engagement in the Canva application. And the next, classroom atmosphere. Research noted when the class was busy and unfocused in cycle 1, which led to the decision to implement gamification and reward in cycle 2. And the next, interview or the experience. The research used interview to explore the student personal experience during the learning process. This helped them understand how the combination of SQTR and Canva motivated the students to be more involved in reading activity.
Okay, we move into the next part. Cycle 1. First steps and reflection. In the first cycle, students begin intensive reading exercise with a text titled "No More Vide." The result showed a slight improvement. The average score was 17.1 and 11 or was 17.11% in the first meeting and rose to 74.81% in the second. Despite the progress, the results did not yet meet the success indicators. Reflection revealed several weaknesses. Students were easily distracted during Canva-based explanation. Time allocation was insufficient and some learning steps were missed. Students also lacked the opportunity to task questions, which hindered their activeness.
Next, to deep dive, cycle 1 performance. The journal provides specific data points to explain why this score was considered a goal not yet met. The first one, the improvement graph. While the average increased from 70 and 11% in the first meeting to 74 and 81% in the second meeting, it did not reach the research success indicator. And the next, the spread of scores. In the second meeting of cycle 1, 10 students scored only 80, which is 10% below or at the bracket of the minimum completeness criteria. Only 3 students, 11 and 11%, achieved a perfect score of 1000. And the next, teacher condition. The teachers noted that while there was change, the teacher's condition only became better but not yet optimal because the transformation was still in its early stage. And the next, analyzing the challenges. Why did it falter? The journal lists for critical weakness identified during the reflection of cycle 1. The first is missed procedural step. The teacher did not fully implement a step of the SQ3R model. Specifically, the receipt and review process the first or skip leaving students without a clear summary of what they read, and the next cause noise and lack of focus. When the teacher uses comfort to explain the material, the classroom becomes busy or noisy. Students were more distracted by the new technology than focused on the actual reading content. And the next, insufficient time allocation. The practice of combining a complex reading strategy, SQ3R, with a digital tool or Canva, look longer than the allotted 2 until 35 minutes. This led to a hurried learning environment where studies couldn't digest the material deeply. And the next, technical unfamiliarity. Many students were unfamiliar with Canvas features, causing technical difficulties that slowed down and ended lesson. And the next, detailed observation. Student passivity. The observations and interviews highlighted and a lot of active engagement, which is a core requirement of the constructivism theory used in the study. The first is lack of questioning. The teacher did not provide enough opportunities for students to ask questions. As a result, students remained passive recipients rather than active builders of knowledge. And the next, opinion experience. Researchers observed that students were less active in expressing their opinions or interpretation of the text, no more fit. And the next, motivation issue. Some students demonstrated low motivation because they left overwhelmed by the technicality of the model without enough constraint. Example or rewards to keep them engaged. And the next, impact of the research design. The failures were essential for the 20-minute narrative because they justified the piece plan in cycle 2. The one point is the pivot. Because students were confused by SQ3R, the research decided to create visual guides within Canva for cycle 2. And the next, the grouping strategy. To fix the passive observation, they introduced small group discussion for spiritual peer interaction.
Okay, we move into the part of 5, Cycle 2, Transformation and Success. Moving to Cycle 2, significant improvements were made based on previous reflections. The teacher conducted brief training on Canvas features and provided a glossary of difficult words with illustration to aid understanding. Small group discussion were also introduced to encourage social interaction. The impact was immediate in the first meeting of Cycle 2. The average score reached 92.86%, and by the second meeting it scored to 93.30%, with 100% of students reaching the highest scores in the final meeting. The implementation was declared a success.
Okay, the point is the statistical success rating. 83 and 30%. The journal record the dramatic transformation instead of during this final process. The meeting precedes meeting 2. In the first meeting of cycle 2, the reference score was already high at 82%. By the second meeting, it reaches a peak average of 93%. In the next, individual progress. The lowest score in the class rose significantly. In cycle I, the lowest score was 14. By the end of cycle 2, the lowest score received by any student was 18. And the next total improvement, there was a total average increase of 15% from cycle 1 and to cycle 2. This confirmed that the learning transformation was not just a small change but a significant leap in comprehension. And the point to success factor target solution. The journal Huygens, the success wasn't accidental, it was the result of fixing the specific failures identified in cycle 1. The first one is technical Canva training. Instead of letting students struggle with the art, the teacher constructed a brief, focused training session on relevant Canva featured the creating infographics and mind maps. This turned Canva from a distraction into a powerful learning tool. And the next SQTR demonstration. To fix the confusion around the SQTR steps, the teacher used simple text to demonstrate the process and create visual guide in Canva so students could see exactly how to survey or proceed. And the next vocabulary support, a glossary of difficult words combined by Illustrate was provided via Canva interactive posters. This addressed the language barrier that previously stopped students from understanding the text. And the next point is success factor, collaborative and motivated learning. The research applied psychological principles to change the classroom vibe. The first one is small group discussion. Moving away from classroom lecturing, students work in group to analyze the text like likes and dislikes. They identify difficult words together, which align with Vygotsky's theory that social interaction speeds up learning. And the next, gamification and reward to boost engagement. The teacher integrated rewards such as certificates and bonus points. This turned the reading exercise into a fun challenge, encouraging both interest and interest motivation. And the next one is outcome, achieving the MMC or minimum completion criteria. The ultimate goal of the research was to ensure no student was far behind. The first one is 100% completeness. By the final meeting of cycle 2, 88 and 50% of students, and in some assessment, 100% of the active group scored above the minimum complete criteria. And the next, active engagement beyond the test scores. The observations show that students were now actively asking questions, expressing opinions, and taking pride in the professional looking visual work they create in Canva. And the next, holistic understanding. Students were no longer just reading words, they were actively summarizing, interpreting difficult terms, and finding main sentence with essays.
Okay, the conclusion of our journal report is, in conclusion, the SQ3R model assisted by Canva effectively improves reading comprehension skills in elementary students. This combination not only enhances academic score but also boosts intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. But for teachers, the researchers recommend regular reflection and continued training in digital tools like Canva to maintain an interactive learning atmosphere. Innovation in digital era is no longer optional. It's the bridge to brighter future for our students. I think that's enough for our report video.
Thank you for watching and big applause. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.